Yesterday, cops in Amsterdam arrested Tse Lop, and that is big news, right? This guy isn't just big, he's massive. He's worth around $17 billion. Some people think he's got this drug empire called the Company or Sam Gore. And like it's thought to supply 70% of Southeast Asia's meth industry. And to give you some idea of how like massive that is probably worth 60 or more $billion, which is way more than the cartels in Mexico. So this guy's like drug empire could be like 10 times more than El Chapo. Seriously, like I wrote about him last year and he makes El Chapo look like a street level pill pusher. He started off as a triad. He's Chinese with Canadian citizenship. He's actually been arrested before. I think it was in the early 2000s he was arrested, in 2000. And he was sentenced to 9 years in prison for narcotics charges in the US. But, I mean, details are limited. I think it's a sealed case. And when he got out, he just like jets straight off to Southeast Asia and just creates this massive, massive kingdom of meth labs all over Myanmar mostly, but in Southeast Asia. And then his guys, I mean, there's just so many people within the Sam Gore, and they're shipping it out to Australia, New Zealand, Singapore, the Philippines. This is an empire that's basically supplying the world's newest drug epidemic. And yeah, I mean, that doesn't even go into like the crazy stories about this guy, right? So he's just 56 years old and he's already like made $17 billion. He's protected by this like phalanx of Thai kickboxers and flies by private jet everywhere. Some people said that he like once lost 66 million bucks on one night at the casino tables in Macau. It gives you some idea of the kind of money this guy's rolling in. But yeah, like what happens now? I mean, he's going to surely start rolling over and naming some officials, right? The reason that this guy has built this empire is mostly because of the way that Myanmar is like just divided between all of these warring tribal ethnic factions, these rebel groups, some aligned with the government, some at war. You've got the Wa, they're another story altogether. It's kind of like Chinese-backed communist militia ethno group in the east. And this is the area that Tse Lop and his company is like bivouac deep inside, right? So they have these giant meth labs pumping out billions of bucks worth of meth each year. They're usually stationed by Taiwanese chemists, which these apparently are the best in the region. And then, yeah, they go out on boats down the Mekong. They get out, you know, through lorries going through the back streets in the jungle. But this stuff is getting everywhere. I would expect that some officials are going to roll over soon. I'd expect this guy to start naming government, state officials in Myanmar. But like, you know, is it going to do anything to the global meth trade? Maybe. I mean, maybe it starts people warring for this empire for a while. But I mean, the supply's there, the demand's there. People taking meth in like crazy numbers in countries like Australia, especially. So yeah, I don't think this is gonna, you know, I don't think this is gonna make a massive, massive impression on the global meth trade. But it's a big deal, and keep on the lookout for stuff about this. Right, we've done a good episode on it, the $1 billion meth lab. There's loads of good stuff out there. There's a great Reuters story on it. I love this story because, you know, people know all about the cartels in Mexico and South America, but this is bigger. And just because they don't carry out the kind of political violence and the pretty gruesome shit that the cartels do, these guys are making way more money, probably because of that. So yeah, Asia's El Chapo, but way bigger than El Chapo. Just got caught. Says a lot about it says a lot about the law enforcement as well, but which they can, you know, they can kind of say that they're working together, which is not something they could do before. But yeah, check out the news. Keep plugging it into your Twitter hashtags because this one's going to get really, really juicy, and I think we might have to have another episode further down the line. So yeah, that's all for this little bonus mini episode of the Underworld podcast.